My guest is Cornelia Marais. She was homeschooled for her entire schooling career and holds a BMus degree as well as a licentiate in violin education. She has worked as a music teacher at various public and private schools in Pretoria and also runs her own studio. Cornelia believes that each individual should have access to the type of education that will be in their best interests, which is why she is invested in promoting home education and the rights of homeschooling in South Africa. Cornelia, your parents were among the first families to home educate their children. What approach to home education did your parents follow?
So I think my parents followed the approach that most homeschooling families use. So they start off with a very strict box curriculum. And I think that lasted us not even a year, about 6 months. And then they realized that this was not working for me or for them. So from there on, it was pretty much, I think I would describe it as the light directed learning. So they were quite strict on that we need to do our maths, because my dad said that was something that you cannot catch up on later. So we had to make sure that we do our maths, that we stay on track with that. But for our other subjects, we read a lot about everything in Afrikaans and in English. My parents really tapped into our interests, and if we express an interest in a specific subject, we did outings on that. We did more research on that. So that was the approach that we followed for most of our schooling career. And then when I was about 16, 17, I decided that I wanted to get a formal matric. So I actually just went ahead. I wrote the normal South African matric with Umalezi, the national senior certificate, and so for the last 2 years of my schooling career, it was a more formal education. I pretty much just sat down, learned my tenses, and forgot them promptly afterwards, and studied science and physics and chemistry in a formal manner, and then went ahead and wrote my matric exam.
Did you have many opportunities to socialize with other home educated learners, or was the population still very small?
Okay, so I'm a 1988 baby, just giving away my age there. But that means that I was in grade 1 in 1995, which was when homeschooling was actually technically still illegal. It was in the process of being legalized, and there were not a lot of homeschoolers. In 1995, my father actually did a presentation for the Education Committee of Parliament on home education to try and get it legalized. And I think at that point they estimated there were about 200 homeschoolers in the whole of South Africa, as in not 200 families, but 200 individual children. I mean, now we can add about 3 more noughts to that number. So yes, there were not a lot of homeschoolers. I think in Pretoria we were maybe 4 or 5 children being homeschooled when I was in grade 1. Fortunately, when you're a homeschooler, you're not limited. Your socializing opportunities are not limited to other homeschoolers or to people your own age. So I have lots of friends in schools, friends older than me, friends younger than me. I must say I never really felt that I was socially deprived, even though I am a bit of an extrovert.
Now, you hold a BMus degree. Did you find it easy to adapt to the life of a student?
So actually, the way I got into studying and decided to actually get a formal university education was because I realized that I want to teach. I want to work with children, and that light bulb moment when someone understands something is the most amazing thing ever. So I decided that, I think I was about 16 or 17, and I then realized that I would need to get a formal university qualification if I want to take this further. So actually, I did my BMus part-time because I wanted to work. I didn't want to, during high school, I started building up my own studio, and I didn't want to put my life on hold to go and get a university education. So I carried on teaching, I carried on working at schools, and part-time I studied. So I wouldn't say I was the typical student, because I didn't really, I didn't study full-time.
What would you say are the biggest benefits and the biggest challenges of being home educated?
Sure. So with benefits for me personally, I would say that I could actually start my adult life before I had officially completed my schooling. And I see that with so many teenagers, they're almost grown up, and they know where they want to be and they know where they want to go, but they're not 18 yet. And everything has to be put on hold until their school bell tolls for the last time. And I never had that. I was always encouraged to pursue my interests, to go with it. My age was never something that kept me back. So I would definitely say that was, for me personally, one of the biggest advantages. And what I've also seen, especially in my career as a teacher, what I really think, looking back at my schooling, something that I should have appreciated more, was the fact that as a homeschooler, you get a tailor-made curriculum just for you. And you, instead of you having to fit into the box is actually changed to fit you. And that is something that you cannot really get anywhere else. When it comes to challenges, this is always a very a very difficult question to answer, because I know people go on about, you have to be like really structured and really self-disciplined, and the parents have to be structured and the children have to be self-disciplined. But I don't really think that is a challenge, because home education is about teaching children to be able to function as adults. And if the parents are fully functioning adults, the children just really need to copy them, and they will get there somehow. So, sorry, I'm going to opt out of the challenges because I really don't know.
I think for me as a parent, the biggest challenge is the mind shift that I have to make. Because I am so used to having structure, and you need to meet your targets, and the challenge is to trust your child to know what he is interested in and to follow his own path and not the one that society would have possibly set for him.
And to give your child that space, hey? I can imagine that you need to sometimes take a step back, and I can imagine that can be stressful.
See, that's why it's wonderful to talk to home education alumni who are proof that you can trust your child and let them spread their wings and become their own adults.
They will get there somehow.
At least we have about 18 years to make that happen. And if it takes a bit longer, it's no problem.
It's fine.
Cornelia, thank you very much for this delightful conversation.
Thank you for the opportunity, Anelle.